Greetings and salutations, beautiful people in the beautiful world. He is I am him, and I have a shirt on. My name is Zach, Zach Lat, Z Lat. Take your pick, whatever one we're going to go with it. We're going to roll with it. You are now tuned in to another segment of Right and Exact. And something that I want to dive into, very broad topic, and I'm going to actually condense it and shorten it. Something I want to talk about is mental slavery. Mental slavery. Because if you can give me your mind, if I can capture your mind, if you give me your fear, well, then you give me your destiny. You basically give me your life. It's not about keeping you a slave and hitting you with a whip and beating you up and punching you. It's not about that. I want your mind. And the steps to recapturing your mind is what I want to go over. And it kind of looks something like this, because if you can identify these steps, you can identify where you're at, and then you can start to identify where other people are at and where they're at in their walk, and then you can better assess situations that you start to encounter. So the first step is introduction. Intro 101 to information that maybe you have not heard of, maybe you have not encountered, and it's going to be all new to you. It's going to be some information that you've never heard before, and it's going to kind of take you back a little bit. You're going to sit there and let me get a second to process this. Wait a second, what are you saying? Da 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 da. No. You break it down, and then you feel a little way about it, right? Now, one thing for sure is some people have came into this information. They know this information. And this is where you run into cognitive dissonance, because they know something. They just do something totally opposite of what they already know. Right? And that's where you run into that. And that's a whole nother topic. But at any rate, so the first step is introduction. Intro 101. Second step you're going to run into is disbelief. Right? Or you're going to run into somebody who I don't believe it. I don't accept anything that you say. No, so and so would never do anything to do this. My religion would never lie to me. My boyfriend would never step out on me. My girlfriend would never cheat. She would never say anything like, I don't believe this. I'm not taking in any of it, and you deny it. You deny it. Shield, bam, whatever information come up, bam, I'm blocking that. Bam, I'm blocking that, right? And you're just gonna keep denying it and denying it and denying it, and that's a stage that some people just get stuck at, as the denial stage. But at the end of the day, the truth is like a lion. Okay? You let that joker go, it will protect itself. You can put that in your pipe and smoke it, right? So there's only so much running you can do from the truth until it's going to find you. And when it finds you, that's when you come into this next stage, which is shock. You are shocked that somebody would lie to you for so long. Somebody would hoodwink you. Somebody would bamboozle you. Somebody would lead you astray into why has nobody ever told me this? Why is everybody walking around all smiles and saying that this is where this information comes from, and I know good and goddamn well now that this was all a lie? Is this what we built is on a lie? That means we have no foundation. That means I have to go start back over. You're all into this shock now. And then when you come to this shock, and you realize that you've been hoodwinked, you realize that you have been played for and taken for as a fool, which, by the way, everybody has been taken for a fool at some point in time in their life. There is no exception. No getting around that. No exception to that rule. Okay? So once you get over that, then you get to the next one. You get mad, right? You get angry. And you just want to give anybody the 2-piece give it some extra sauce on the fries, right? And that anger gets into this place where you just want to come out like a machine gun, and you just start you just start shooting off on any and everybody who you run across. You start shooting off on anybody that lends an ear, who comes in your cipher. You just start unloading on them all this information that you feel as though you feel is right, that you have taken in now, and you just want to give it to anybody who's listening. And this is a dangerous stage because you start running people off at this stage too. Even though you might have some information in there with some false information, because when you're at this stage too, any information that somebody starts giving it to you, you start taking it as the gospel, God's spell. Okay, that's a whole nother. But at any rate, you just start taking it, and your anger is not direct. It's just it's all over the place, and you just shooting here, but you have no direction to where you're starting to place your energy and your anger at. So at this stage, you have to just slow down. Okay, slow down, breathe. But more importantly, you now have to take it to the next stage of scholarship. Because if you run into that anger stage and you run into somebody who is really built this system, let's say the strengths that be, you're not going to be really of any use coming up against somebody who really has studied and really has done their homework and their scholarship in their work. Because you might be able to fool those who and guide those who are misguided. That'll work with them because they haven't really done any research. They haven't really. But when you come up against a Jegda, oh, you better get your mind right. You come up against those strengths that be, and you want to be effective with your words, it'll have to come through scholarship. And then once you come through scholarship, once you start hitting those books, and once you start reading and studying, then you're able to hone in on that anger. Because you're not really going to get rid of the anger. Anger really doesn't go away. But if you don't get rid of the anger will start eating away at its host. So once you start to come through your study, you'll start to be able to, that's where Ochosi comes in, where you are able to get a target, a direction of where you want to focus and direct that anger. So therefore, it's just not falling on deaf ears, and therefore now it is becoming effective in reclaiming your mind, in reclaiming your state, and reclaiming your old knowledge of self. Something that you should really build, and something that I was building off of, is you should check out Enlightenment and Transformation on YouTube. Black Art of War. Something that, look it up. It's a part 1 and a part 2, but you should really check it out. Something that will be very beneficial. But again, just to recap: stages, intro, okay, denial, disbelief, shock, anger. Then you got to turn that into scholarship. All right. I will that you got something out of this. I will that you can finally see maybe where you are at, or maybe where somebody else is at. And I will that you have a wonderful and beautiful day. This is Zach Latin. I'm out. Peace.